Now, where did I put that? Oh, hey, Shiny Crafty People, Tim Totten here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a simple cathedral window with just 3 pieces of fabric. Real simple, 10 by 10, 5 by 5, and 4.5 by 4.5 pieces. Super easy, and you can make real easy cathedral window shapes that either can be used for ornaments. I'm going to hang a little piece of ribbon to this and maybe put a cute little button in the middle and make an ornament for a tree. Or you can use it as a mug rug or like a coaster, or you can make a bunch of them and make a quilt. So why don't you join me down at the cutting table? I'll show you what we need to get going on this. All right, so to make this project, we're gonna need 3 fabrics that we think coordinate together. And since these were all bought together in one pack of 12 fat quarters that I got from Amazon, and I'll be glad to link it in the description below this video. Those all work together. We need, something to cut with, and we need some Pellon heavy duty Wonder Under. Now, this is a name brand by Pellon. It's the heavy duty, but you could just buy any sort of double-sided fusible interfacing. So this has a nice sticky side here that we stick down onto the fabric like this, and then after you've ironed it and you peel it off, it reveals another layer. Basically, that layer is peeled off of the paper and it's now stuck on this fabric, and I can then fuse pieces of fabric together. So let me tell you the sizes that we need, and we will start making this real simple cathedral window. I've cut this red piece 10 by 10. So it's a 10 by 10 square. That's fine. This will be the middle part will be a 5-inch square, and I'm going to use this piece of Wonder Under to do that. I showed you earlier we're using Wonder Under by Pellon. And then for the other, I will need a 4.5-inch square, and this is that Wonder Under material. So let me go ahead and get this done out of a 4.5-inch square. I'll place it close enough down here that I can cut it out again. I'm going to make sure it doesn't overlap so it doesn't cut any of the other material. And then I'm using a dry iron according to its instructions, 7 to 10 seconds on each piece that I'm doing. And that will get it connected here. I'm using the Wonder Under because I can iron all the pieces together after that. So that's that one. Flip this over. Now I am going to sort of do what might be considered like a fussy placement. I want to make sure that I get one of these diamonds in the center of this. So in fact, I might just give it a quick fold to find the center. Fold on both sides here. Now tell me where the center is, and I can line the center up on one of those. I want to make sure it really gets right in the middle. All right. That's going to waste a little bit of fabric around it, but I'm not too bothered by it. I think it'll actually look pretty good when all is said and done to have that piece right in the middle. Then I need to let these cool, and I can cut them out. I can either use my rotary cutter, or I could just use a pair of scissors. So I could literally just come through here and cut right next to that paper. And we'll get a really good even cut out of it. Now this one I had ironed first, so it's actually pretty soft already, or pretty cool already to the touch. And there's that. Now while I'm waiting for this other one to cool down, I'll go ahead and fold up the 10-inch square the way that I need to. So I'm going to fold this diagonally and give it a good press. Make sure that those corners fit right. Again, this is a 10-inch square. And then I'll fold it again this direction. Now I love a lot of steam, so I'm going to put my steam back on my iron. I had it off for the Wonder Under portions, and you will need to, of course, be aware of that when you go to the other Wonder Under, that you'll need to turn it back off again. And then you're just going to fold to the points in the middle, and I can find the point in the middle there easily because I can see it real well. You may not be able to see it as well. So I'm doing this again. This is fun because you're actually going to fold this several times to get it all to the center. All folded over to the center. give it a good press. You can hear my steam going because, you know, I told you I love steam. Love it. And then you're going to fold all the rest of the points into the center. You're folding basically, you fold it the first time to find the center, then you open it, then you fold all the points to the center, and then you let it go, and then you do it again. So I'm going to iron all of these to get my nice points. This is going to help us create our cathedral window. All right, while that's gone, I'm going to go ahead and cut out this piece to make sure it is even. Again, this is the one that's 5 by 5. Now, it might turn out being a little too big, and we can always adjust it. It'll depend on how crisply we folded this red one in, whether it actually works right. But the nice thing is you can trim it. It's not hard to do. I'm using the Wonder Under to give this some stability, but also to make it real easy to put all these pieces together. I have seen videos where they glue baste it, but I don't do a lot of glue with fabric, and I'm worried about it gumming up my machine in a way. And I know once I heat this, it's gonna take care of that situation. So see, that's about the same size. In fact, I might want to trim it just a little bit to get it to fit because it's going to go inside all these folds. So I can come back and just cut a tiny little sliver off of 2 sides. And I'm saying barely even 1/8 of an inch off of these 2 adjacent sides to each other. So now what I'm going to do is take this portion and open up and iron it on the inside. And since I have all those folds in place, it'd be real easy to iron it in there. What I do is I go and since it's completely cool, I can now peel off that paper backing on the Wonder Under. And you'll be really impressed when this comes off. See, it's a little shiny in there. That's the adhesive that it's put in. So if I peel that off, I can then come back and put this in here. And it's going to seem a little weird to do, but I'm going to go ahead and fold these back in because I don't want to lose any of those creases. And then I will steam right through, I will iron right through, take the steam off, iron right through it. Now, because this has so many layers that it's going through now, I need to actually hold steady for probably a good 15 to 20 seconds on each side of this. And so I'm going to really spend quite a long time doing this, and I might even move my iron around as I press it down. Press down completely. So look at how great that is now. It's held on the inside. Then the last thing we're going to do is this piece sort of goes on top this way. But what we have to do is cut it diagonally to put these on all of the 4 corners because it's going to fit into the corners there. So we'll cut this across using our rotary cutter. I'll go do that right now and then bring it back. So I cut this diagonally into 4 pieces. It had gone together like that, and I cut it into 4 separate pieces. And then what I will do is I will iron those on to each of these 4 corners right to the edge. So I'll go ahead and peel off the paper. I'm going to trim just these little bit of threads off of here so it doesn't look so jagged. We just want to make sure we have the same amount along either side, each edge, and just press that down. While that's pressing, I'm leaving that on. I'm going to go ahead and peel another of those corners. Just peel the paper. I have just a little bit of a fingernail there, so it's helping to do that. Same thing on the other edge. And actually, because it's a little warm, it's actually holding it down really well for me. So I'll make sure I don't get it too warm. where I'm going to put another one because it actually started to hold it, like it grabbed it before I had it in position. So that one's good. And do another one. What I like about this is that this Wonder Under is going to hold it into place and actually make it to where I don't really have to, if I don't want to, I don't necessarily have to sew a backing on this unless I just really want to. Very warm. All right, last one to iron down. And there is the first steps of our cathedral window, all the pieces together. Now I'm gonna go start stitching it. Let's go to the sewing machine. So I've threaded my machine with red thread, and I'm gonna come in and do a couple things. First, I'm gonna go across in a cross pattern across these just to hold these in place, because these will then get twisted out of place as we build our cathedral window. So I'm just gonna come in, I'm gonna use a rather short stitch length, and just back up, back and forth, to really get a stitch in there to hold those in place. You can see it a little in the back too. And then I'll flip the other direction and do the same thing. It's just to hold those tails in place. And then, you know, a little pair of scissors to just clean up those stitches as we go through. Next, I'm gonna start at the center and I'm gonna peel out each of these. And because it's on the bias here, it's gonna fold out in this fun half circle shape that we want. Now I don't wanna twist too far because I wanna make sure that I hold at the top, I want that stitch to hold in the center. And then I'm just gonna stitch right along the edge of it. And I can go a little back at the top. And then I'm stitching along the edge of this shape. And I'm trying to get right down into just the edge of the fabric. I'll give you a closer angle in just a minute. And you see that shape that it's created there, flips it open. And then I can come along now. I'm not gonna do this side yet, although I could. I just have to be careful how I stitch around the other part of it. So I'm gonna go back to do another one here and just fold it out carefully. I'm just running that stitch right along the edge. Right along that edge there as it goes around. Now, you don't have to be super exact with it, but it looks nice if you are as exact as you can get with it because it's gonna look good. Now, some people will ask me, well, how do you make sure that this end doesn't open it? Well, we can use a nice button if you want to, or some kind of Christmas decoration to cover over the center point. That's really up to you. And I'll show you a couple different ways to finish these, how you might be able to use them to make decorations. And again, we're gonna continue. I'm just gonna trim all these threads later when I get everything finished with stitching. Now, if for some reason you went off, like I just did here, I went off a little bit, it's not really noticeable, and I could come back in and just put a stitch back into it without it really making much of a difference. You could hand stitch it. That's really up to you. I don't think anyone's gonna look that closely at these, so I'm not as concerned as I might have been in a previous life. I kind of feel like these things are handmade and people just, they get used to that. They know that it's handmade. So now I've done 4 of those, right? And you could leave it just like this, an interesting pinwheel shape. And that's kind of fun, but I want to open it up to really show the shape behind. And if you used a little more intricate pattern behind, it would even come out more than that. So doing the other direction, you could either start it this direction if you wanted, and and that might be the right strategy. In fact, I want to show you a little secret thing. If I had done this, if I had gone here and then gotten to here, I could have just finished, kept sewing the other direction. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm actually, because I feel comfortable doing it on the side, I'm just going to do it on the other side. But if you felt only comfortable stitching on the left side, or maybe you have a foot that is wide open on that side, you can really only see through it, then just go flip them all around and go from the edge in rather than from the center out. See how much difference that opens up that amount of space? Again, we're just going right along the edge. Now, the secret to making this look really sort of professional is just to make sure you're using the same amount you're leaving the same amount of edge all along. If you're going, you know, 1/8 of an inch away from the edge as you sew, then make sure you do that on all of them. So make sure that that edge stitch looks about the same on both sides. These go really fast, actually. It's surprising how quickly these go. You can really get quite a bit of speed on these as you start to do them more often. And you do a bunch of them, it kind of just gets into a rhythm. And then last one to get our cathedral windows in place. It also feels like a little bit like a flower to me. If you use different colors and different time of the year, instead of doing Christmas, you could do sort of a fun flower motif almost. Might be cute in a beach theme, using beachy type fabrics. So that could be the end of what you did. You could say that's going to be my decoration. It's got some weight to it because of the, I'm going to trim a little threads here. Because of the Wonder Under that's in there. This could also be, you know, a mug rug or something for a coaster. You can also put a button right here in the middle if you want, and then a string on it and hang that up as an ornament. But the other thing you could do is if you didn't like this raw edge here, you could get another piece of fabric, this finished size now, 5 inches, and put it on top and sew these together, flip them inside out, and even stuff this or add batting and make it a really lovely ornament in that particular shape. Well, Shiny Crafty people, that is it. I've made this cute cathedral window ornament, something that you can work on yourself. Real well, can't see me because of the way the light's in here. Let me make sure that, yeah, that's a little better. I'm using a different camera than normal. That's how you make a little cathedral window ornament. I really love doing this. I think it's super easy. You can find other fabrics to put together and do a bunch of different stuff with this. You could even make a bunch of squares like this and then sew them together to make a beautiful quilt. Would be super easy and something that you could be really proud of with all the different fabrics you put together. So I hope you try this out. Until next time, stay crafty. Bye for now. Gosh, I want to make more, but can you imagine how many it would take to make a quilt?